retirement, you'll face many personal planning considerations, including the death of a spouse or partner. Joining me to discuss that risk and what steps you can take to manage that risk is Cindy Levering, a co-author of Managing Post-Retirement Risk, which was recently published by the Society of Actuaries. Cindy, let's start with you giving us a description and then how to manage it.
First of all, some income like Social Security or a traditional pension benefit, depending on what option you've chosen, may stop at the death of a spouse or a former spouse or partner. So it's important to make those choices before retirement with understanding what will happen if there's a death of one of the partners. If the spouse or partner was a caregiver and passes away, that might bring financial problems to the surviving spouse or partner that has disabilities and has to replace that help in some other way. On the other hand, if the surviving spouse was the caregiver for a long period of time, they might find that their daily life is less difficult in some cases since their loved one has died, because they don't have that responsibility anymore. In addition, the assets needed to support two people in a household need now only to support one person, although the expenses, surprisingly, or many people don't think about this, aren't going to be cut in half. They might be 65 to 75%. So they're not going to be 100% of what they were, but not necessarily in half. Widows in particular seem to need more help than others, and many may not have the family around to help them. And I think it's really important to think about these things and plan for these things in advance, so that if the event does occur, you know what to do. With all the grief that you're going through, and I can speak to this from personal experience, having those things set and decided in advance make a big difference. In terms of managing the risk, there are a lot of financial vehicles available that can be used either alone or in combinations, and that includes such things as life insurance, survivor income and Social Security, and I'll talk more about Social Security claiming in a minute. Traditional pension plans in terms of when you make your election when you retire, making sure that you've got an appropriate option election, and annuities, purchase of annuities. Long-term care insurance is something to think about, although the market for that these days is not as robust as it once was. So that you have to really be really careful with that one. And savings and investments. And again, as I said before, it's important for both parties to know what they have in terms of savings and investments. Wills and estate plannings are very important for the surviving spouse or partner, and you might want to have trust set up, and it's important, also very important, to keep beneficiary designations up to date. Adult family members or friends may be able to help to adjust to new circumstances, making changes, managing finances, assessing choices, and providing care. And as I mentioned earlier, married couples need to, when they do their Social Security claiming, need to do that very carefully in terms of retirement dates and the options they select with regard to survivor benefits, because there's a lot of different pieces to it. It's quite complicated. And where one partner managed the finances and the other might have had limited capability, buying annuity for the person with the limited capability might be an option, so that they don't have to worry about their income, and they don't need to manage funds to support themselves. However, there's trade-offs, and you have to consider tying up those assets that might be, that might not be there then if you have an emergency. So again, a lot of things to think about.
Quite a bit, and you've given us a lot to think about, Cindy. So thanks for describing that risk and the ways to manage it.
You're welcome.